So, welcome back to another episode of Tom's Barbers podcast. It's been a while, but a bit of a different episode today. So today we've got Evan. Evan's normally the man who films these, but today we're going to take an opportunity and actually put him in front of the camera because the last year for Evan has been an absolute whirlwind. So obviously, I'll just let you introduce yourself, Evan, who you are and what do you do?
So I'm Evan. I finished college around almost a year basically to the day, and my passion is filmmaking and media. So I've just spent the last year basically trying to do as much of that as I can. The aim is to direct fiction, being feature films, short films, but I've had a crazy year of doing a bunch of different job roles. I've worked as an assistant director and started to join many AD teams while also doing a lot of social media freelance, working here, helping make these podcasts and general social media things, helping with other companies around the Lincoln area, and while also doing YouTube pretty much part time and earning money from that. So a really nice mix of going away, working on films, staying here, working with local businesses, and then making my own stuff as well, whether that be the YouTube or my own films.
So, probably start off with how obviously filming and fiction and stuff like that. What was your early passions for the film market? What made you?
So I think for me, I've watched films, for as long as I can remember. It was always, what I would say connected me with people I know, watching films with them. I'm now very passionate on my sport, but I didn't always used to be. That was something that came on more when I was going into just before secondary school. But film has always been there, which is, sharing that and kind of seeing different avenues of life, and has always been, I think, very inspiring. And I've always found a passion in telling my own stories. So I think the combination of those two mix really well for wanting to go in and make that career.
No, and you've certainly done well with that. Certainly in the last year. So, might as well start with our relationship. So, obviously, I probably see it a different way. So, what made you want to come and spend a day a week with us?
Well, I've been coming here since I started getting my hair cut. And obviously known Tom for a very long time. Done a bunch of, been here a bunch, seen the shop go through many transformations. And I think over the years I was in college, I was always, I was always trying to reach out and do more, but I didn't know what that could be. Um, and you kind of said, well, why don't you come here and do a day and we'll see how it gets on, do some social media. And I think for me, it's been really nice to work somewhere locally, work with people who care about what they do, and the business, and also build up my own skills, going from someone who, knew what they wanted to do and had made my own stuff, but probably not knowing how it works, to then defining probably my where I want my stuff to go, what I want my stuff to look like and feel like, and kind of having the opportunity to work with a lot of new people, which is a lot of what my job is, at a more controlled scale, while also coming here and, helping out and seeing how the social media can help the business, while also improving my own skills and kind of growing together, I think was the big thing that led me to, not only wanting to do it, but wanting to continue and keep doing it, even while there's been, other opportunities, different opportunities in the mix as well. But it's always something that's been nice to come back to. So I think that's what I think helps push it here.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, obviously, I've seen you grow up, and which has always been nice, and that's ultimately what's great about running a barbershop. And then obviously, it's been nice keeping a tab on what you're doing, and obviously, what really inspired me is obviously you're very committed to what you do, and obviously, I can always remember you saying you wasn't going to go to university, you was going to do it, forge your own path, and I really enjoyed listening to that and the fact you've done it, and I think testament to you. So what do you think some of the key things, well, why did you not want to go to university? Because I think there's going to be other people in your position that feel like university is probably the only option. So what made you not go to university, and what was your driving factors around that?
I think first of all, I'm not really one for the uni lifestyle. I love a quiet drink, but I'm not one for a big, nightclub kind of situation. Loads of people out and about, and I never thought that was kind of for me, the social aspect of it. I also, because I want to direct, it's more of a creative thing. And for me, I just felt I never mixed well with education. I never got as much out of it as I wanted. And I just thought, I think I could get a lot more out of making my own stuff and learning that way rather than going to university. But I still think university is great for some people. If you don't know exactly what you want, it's a great way to hone your skills, like I say, in a controlled environment. And it's also great if you don't know, let's say you want to do film, but you don't know exactly what you want to do. It's good for that because you get to see different aspects with, not a lot of pressure. You get to try a bit of everything. And also I found people who want to do lighting or sound, they can pretty much go straight onto a set and know exactly what they're going to do as soon as they finish university, which is great. But directing, I feel like, is more something that you need to feel. You need to know how a set feels. I do a lot of AD work, like I say, and that is how a set feels. You could never learn that at university.
So what's AD? What does that mean?
It stands for assistant director.
Yeah.
But so for me, a year ago, I had no clue what they did. I thought they were literally the assistant to the directors. Not the case at all. So on a set, you'll have a first AD, a second AD, and a third AD. A first AD is probably what a lot of people think the director is, in the sense that they are the ones who, in the films, will be there with the big megaphones or whatever, shouting, rolling and, action and all this. That's not what a director does. A director is more on the creative side, while a first AD will help manage the day, will help everything go by, get everyone in the right places. The second AD will make a call sheet, which is like a pre-planned version of the day. So everything will be written down. If you have extras, so you're doing like a period piece, of things set, in the past or the future, you will often need many extras to be all dressed and make-upped. So they'll plan how that will go, what time they'll get in, what time hair and makeup will be there, working on them. And then kind of what scenes you're doing that day and what order and how many setups they need, which the first will then follow. And then the third AD, which I had my first role doing last week, is kind of at the command of the first, but will be the person who probably gets their hands a bit dirtier and is more of the scrappy, just helping things here, there and everywhere, trying to get things into place, while the first will stay a lot with the director and the head of departments, like the cinematographer, stay on set, help that move, and then give orders to the third, I need this person on set, and the third will go and get that to happen, or I need lighting to be quicker, and you'll go have those conversations of why is it not happening. So that's kind of what the AD team does. They help the day move. So that's kind of what I've been working on since I've kind of come into the industry.
So let's talk about last week. So how did you get the opportunity? What was you doing? And where was it?
I've been very lucky that all my jobs all stem from, at heart, the fact that I am a Grimsby fan. My first job was through a director that I got in touch with a few years ago, who had made a Grimsby documentary, made a film based in Grimsby, really big Grimsby fan. I ended up working on his feature film and really got on with him. I've seen a bunch of posts for that film. But his girlfriend is a really great woman, very talented, called Alana. And she does all the editing for like the Gordon Ramsay type of shows. And she'll also do a lot of stuff to like, she'll edit other clips together to promote like what a show could be. So, you know, someone like, let's say ITV will say, oh, we want to make a show like this. And she'll use pre-existing clips like of like Gordon Ramsay shows and piece it together to give like people who would invest kind of a feel for what the show could be. But she directed her first short film. It's something she wants to get into a bit more. And I met her on the set of Jack's film. Jack is her partner, who is also a director, the one I talked about. And we really got on that set. We talked online a few times, and I think they were looking for the film was shot in Leeds, so they were looking for local-ish people, but also people who were going to be passionate and into what they were doing. And they were like, we'll give Evan an improved role of what he's been doing, and kind of give him that opportunity to like grow from it. So I kind of got that just through knowing them, and you know, having good conversations, impressing them on sets before I was with them on, and they were like, you know, this is a smaller thing. We'll give him an improved role and see how he does.
It's amazing, isn't it? The network is and how it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's fantastic. So obviously you talked about that was your latest opportunity. What was your first opportunity? What do you think was your real big break? Because obviously you've said it all come through one person and your links have been a Grimsby Town fan. But what do you think was the key that got the ball rolling?
Well, I had some great opportunities last year. I did an internship with the BFI, which was really nice. I was in London at South Bank. But the really big thing was, like I say, this director, he's called Jack Spring. He'd made a few films before and a documentary. I kept in touch with him for a few years through being a Grimsby fan. I sent him all my like little student films, and he always watched them and gave some advice. And he was kind of the one that especially was like, if I was you, I wouldn't go to uni. You don't seem like you would gel with it. And then around maybe early last year, they were stepping up production for their next film. And he said, I'd love for you to be a part of it. Now, obviously, he's very busy, so I didn't hear loads about it. But late summer last year, I got the spot where I'd definitely be on. So I went for 5 weeks and we shot a film called Merry Christmas Aubrey Flint. It is coming to cinemas this year. And it has a really great cast. We filmed 4 weeks in London and a week in York. And it had some really big people in. So it starred John Bradley, who's quite famous for Game of Thrones. We had Richard E. Grant in there, Celia Imrie, who was quite big from Celebrity Traitors at the time, especially. And we had Carl Pilkington. And recently they got on Lincolnshire-based Oscar winner Jim Broadbent to do the voice of Dickens in the film. So it's a Christmas film based on a care home that's been shut down, and they throw on Christmas Carol to try and save the home. And the guy, Aubrey Flint, who is John Bradley, is very anti-Christmas, and he gets thrown into this situation. So I was really lucky where I spent the 5 weeks. I came on as a production runner. I then kind of got promoted into the AD team and worked with them. But I was also really lucky that I did some body doubling for the film on a separate day. I did storyboards for the reshoots. And then in the last month, I've been able to go up to London and watch the post-production. So I've seen the film be colour graded in post. I've seen the sound mixing. And I've also been able to catch up with the actors again and watch as they go through ADR, which is, I don't know, I think it's assisted dialogue replacement, which is when sometimes your audio on set may be a little bit dodgy. So they kind of go over and voice over those lines again. Or sometimes it's just a case of they want to change how the story feels in some places. So they'll go over and speak over the lines. So I got to watch that, which has always been something I was really interested in. So the film is quite close. I watched it for the first time probably last week. But then yesterday, I was one of the first people to watch it in a cinema. I was one of 5 people to see it for the first time in a cinema. And it's going to Cannes this week, Cannes Film Festival, and I've had a lot of close connection with the film, so I'm really excited for it to come out. It's the first really big thing I've done, and it'll be amazing. I'm in the film, obviously back acting, but my face is also in it very briefly, so to see myself and my name in the credits on the big screen has always been a dream. So that is where a lot of the other opportunities has come from, but also the first big thing I did that taught me how the industry works, how a set works, what the job, like what people's jobs are on a film, and just the everyday of it.
That's crazy to think how far you've come. In your wildest dreams, did you think you'd have achieved what you've achieved so early doors?
I think I'm very hard on myself where right now I feel like that I could be a lot further than I am. But also if you told me a year ago that I would have worked on, some of the stuff I have with some of the cast I have across some of my projects, I would have been over the moon. I would have, and a year ago that would have like meant everything. But I think constantly, I always keep quite level headed and I'm just like, what's next? But I still do. I mean, the opportunity I've had with this has been amazing. And especially seeing it all come together, I've been so lucky to see. So I think at this point, probably a year ago, you said, oh, you'll be, in a film that will come out in cinemas next year. I would have been like, no way, no way, no way. So I suppose in that sense, yeah, it is probably more than what I thought I'd be.
Yeah, no, to be fair, mate, we're really proud watching you and seeing what you've done. Fair play to you. And again, it's exciting. It's been exciting for you as well.
Yeah.
Because again, like we haven't seen each other for a while, so it's been really nice to hear what you've been doing. Just going to stop asking questions for a little bit. I'm just going to dry it. So I've just used a bit of the new matte clay product just to give it a bit of texture. We're just going to dry it, and we'll resume when people can hear. Did you? What about? Because obviously you're a Tottenham fan as well. Are you boys staying up or?
Well, I've said we lost to West Ham in January, and I said I think we're down. And everyone said, what are you on about? We're near the relegation zone. I think we were like 11th. And I was like, I don't think we'll win another game in this season. I have now been proven wrong, so we beat Wolves and Villa. But we are the worst team in the league to watch. We play the worst football. And I won't say the players don't care, but when you have as many injuries as we've had, we've had no penalties this year, including last night, which looked like that could have definitely been a penalty. We've had some really shoddy ref calls. You don't want to. It is down to us because we're just not a good team. But when you look at the goal we had disallowed against Arsenal, where Gabriel flings himself over because Colomani's just got his arms up, but you can see there's no push. And the referee came on Monday Night Football to explain why that's such a good decision. And then Fulham scored the same goal against us a week later with a more harsh push, and it was not disallowed. You start to think, because it's a great story, in it, one of the big boys going down.
Yeah, but I think it would cost the Premier League so much money. I just don't see it happening. I just think, not saying the Premier League's corrupt at all, but then you do look at the irony of potentially Arsenal's the team that saved you.
Yeah. Yeah, which is very true.
But what a decision the other day. That has that got to go down as one of the biggest VR decisions of all time.
Yeah, it will. Well, Arsenal will win the league now. and it's just seeing if Tottenham stay up and West Ham do go down, especially by a point, then it definitely will be. But yeah, I'm half and half with that call because obviously it helps us out, which is great. And it is a foul. Like, I do think that is a foul, but it shouldn't take that long to look at it. And there was how much scrambling was in the box. You can rule off any goal pretty much for stuff like that for corners.
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it?
Every level where it's like, yeah, there is an arm in there, and I can see why it would be given as a foul, but clear and obvious, I don't think so. So I was actually at a point where I thought I don't want this to be disallowed, even though it will damage us. It's bad for the game, I think. Just all this VAR all the time, you know. I've been on the bad end of it, and I've been on the good end of it, and then it's always just like it just sucks the soul out of it.
I just think football does need to make its mind up. Is like, if you are, I think Gerard Bowen summed it up really well. Is like, you know, if you watch any video screen and you slow anything down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It always looks worse. Yeah.
Or it's always going to look worse. You can create any narrative or decision you want, and I think, you know, when the fouls cancel each other out, because you had so much holding by not only just the Arsenal player like Trossard, would it not be wrong to would there not be an argument to go, matey boy, the West Ham player holding the shirt is just as much
he was
being fouled by Trossard?
Yeah, well, the player was being held by someone else, and you know that Arsenal player was being held by someone else. Everyone's holding on to each other, and Arsenal have scored so many goals similar this year that it's like they were looking for a reason to disallow it.
I just love the way Arteta's going handball by Declan Rice, loving it, like to try and get his own player sent off to get a penalty. You know.
Stupid, innit?
So what about? So obviously, let's try and finish up really about you. So, you know, you've been doing a lot more films. You've been involved with a lot more. You've learned a massive amount this year. Are you still doing your own YouTube channel, or is that?
Yeah, I've not been as consistent. There was a few issues behind the scenes on that with just some copyright issues. So I've not been as good on that, but it is still a thing, and videos are still in the works and still happening. I've been very much mixing between making my own stuff. Like, obviously the YouTube is something, but I've been trying to spend more time making my own short films. So it was over a month, but we did 2 days of filming for a short film that I wrote and directed called Slate. That is in the edit right now. It's having score being made. It's taking a bit longer than I'd like, but it's all going quite well. And then I've been given so much by you and Jack, and I've been given so many opportunities that I have spent a lot of time in the last 2 months especially, trying to help out. So I went to Lincoln College last year and trying to give back to some of the students there. Some of them got in touch, and I know what it's like to be there. I know, at times how it can get messy. There's a lot of kids and not a lot of equipment, and there's not a lot of hands-on help, And part of that you do need to learn yourself and learn practically. But I've been able to go in, and I actually went into it a few times and helped people out. But I've just gone and helped people film on location. I've just been helping a bunch of people locally get their final projects done. So hopefully they can go and do what they want to do, mainly being university or experiences like that, where they just don't have the equipment to do what they want to do, and they just don't know how to. And now I've had the mix of experience in, making films like this, but also working on big stuff, big professional sets. I can kind of look at it both ways, and I've been able to help out a lot, which has been something I've really enjoyed. And the other benefit of that is you meet a lot more people who care, and I've been able to use in my projects, and especially for me, that being the cast. So I didn't know 6 months ago. I wrote a feature a year ago, and I've been wanting to make it. I thought I need to do a proof of concept to show people what it's going to be like. 6 months ago, I didn't know anyone, and last night I filmed it after 6 months. So filmed it until quite late. Finally went and did it because I've been able to meet a lot more cast and people who are willing to come and help out on this stuff and who want an opportunity. It always helps when you can flash some of the names of people I've worked with. But just getting people who are actually passionate about it, so I can go and make my own stuff with people who care, has been really big. So hopefully that proof of concept gets edited in the next few weeks, and I can start hopefully selling the feature and raising some money to actually go and make the thing.
That's brilliant. So obviously giving back's been really good. It's helped you network. So what does the next 12 months look like for Evan?
So it's very difficult to say because 12 months ago I would have had no clue where I am now. I hope there is. I want to be very tactical about probably doing some more work here, getting some more stuff done, and making the content here really good, as well as blending that, maybe having some more local stuff to fall back on, especially when I'm home, to keep busy and keep raising money and, to be able to go. Because the stuff I do, some of it is paid, but some of it is unpaid. So I do, like, in the search for experience, there has been some, sometimes you lose quite a lot of money, which is all worth it. And I think especially because I'm saving a lot of money not going to university, it's been okay. But I think improving my overall content here, getting more consistent on my YouTube channel would be great. And then hopefully improving, doing more AD work. I'd like to work around a bit more, whether that be the odd job in London or Manchester. I really enjoyed my few days in Leeds, so even something like that would be great. And then the big thing for me is thinking about this feature, hopefully getting the plans to make it or having made it. I've got some meetings soon in London about that and how I can be. But also, I just want to be more like, I love making the stuff where you just kind of show up, like what I've been doing with the short films, where you show up with some cameras, with some, local actors, and you just kind of like, you go through it with them and you just press record. But I really want to upgrade where you have a proper crew. You've got, a set person on each job who have good equipment. So finding out how to raise money for that and how to find the people for that is something I'm really looking into at the moment, and what I've been trying to get better at. And this is what my meetings are about as well. So hopefully, in a month or two's time, I have the knowledge of how to then make stuff more professional, and then can suddenly have short films that, where right now I'm like, pay attention to the story, but the technical aspects aren't great, to having great technical aspects, which can elevate the story a bit more.
No, exciting times. Hopefully I'll be able to help you with some of them, and hopefully
absolutely.
we get to push the boundaries with what we do, because obviously
I
think our plan is to be a bit more story based in our market, and more, I think putting the story across. Whether it's exaggerated or not, that's what the plan is. But no, just got to finish lining up your beard. But really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate what you've done for us in the last 12 months. It's been fantastic to see you grow, and I can't wait to maybe do this next year and see where we both are.
Yeah, hopefully a big year.
Exactly. So I'm just going to finish this off, but thank you very much, mate.